Well, before I answer that, I do want to highlight that I think a lot of people think that you need a PhD to be successful in biotech. And I think there are plenty of counterexamples to that. Like, again, to go back to Genentech for like the third time, Bob Swanson was not a PhD. He partnered up with her employer, right? Even like Moderna, the CEO of Moderna is like arguably one of the most interesting and successful companies right now. Does not have a PhD. And I think that a PhD is really only as meaningful as three letters, and it really doesn't mean that the kind of person that you are and the kinds of things you can engage with, the kind of experience that you have. But outside of that, like, okay, so what kind of advice would I have for people that are transitioning out of academia? Well, the first thing I would say is like really go find great mentors. Like that's the fastest way that you can learn. And I think the thing that's been surprising and really amazing about the whole industry since I started getting interested in this during my PhD was like how flat it is. It's really been super easy to engage with many of the figures in the industry that you would have thought would be inaccessible. People really do want to pay it forward. And I think that probably comes from the fact that as much as, there's the natural forces of market competition, people really are motivated by trying to work on real problems. And it's a feeling of shared camaraderie and that, really in health, this is about the patients, or it's about sustainability, or, these are really difficult companies to start and people don't get into it unless they have some other reason for doing what they're doing. And they really do want to help the next generation. So I would first say, like, use that, go find great mentors. Another piece of advice I'd have for people that are, graduating from their PhD is that look way outside yourself for resources. Often we see a lot of PhDs that they really, they invented something or they discovered something in their PhD and that's what they want to bring forward. And they never really look outside of that. And I think one of the challenges is to really develop like a much wider perspective on what are all the interesting things going on and where can your skills be applied. And maybe the work that you've done in your PhD is what you want to start the company with, but there's possibly other pieces of IP or other people that are outside your network that you should bring to bear to work with you. Or you may find that like your skills can just be better applied on a different problem that you hadn't thought of before. And so I really encourage people to take a step back and think about the bigger picture rather than focusing on just their individual piece of technology and how it can be commercialized.